Hey friends. So I spent some time yesterday morning working on a couple of projects that I haven't spent much time on recently. Creative projects, one of which is strictly sort of artistic and creative, and the other one is a little bit more of a working on a business idea, unpacking the creative coaching workshops, and ultimately I think it's going to be a mastermind. Stay tuned. That I've spoken about before, and I hadn't spent, I had a couple of weeks where somehow I just didn't manage to put my focus on those for a while. And something showed up yesterday after spending a good solid morning really kind of digging in. It was a feeling internally of almost like that feeling that I have in my body after a workout, where you just feel that the exertion and the movement has created a kind of a life in the body. It's created a sense of vitality, a sense of flushing out old toxins, lymph, whatever needed to move has been moved, and our body just feels lighter and better. I had a kind of a psychic version of that yesterday, and it's a feeling I am well familiar with. Whenever I give myself over to a task like that really needs doing, and that is important to me, and when I overcome the resistance or whatever kind of friction there may be, it creates this new sense, this feeling of, oh, right, this is where I'm healthy. This is what being healthy feels like. And health is as much a psychic thing as it is a physical thing. It is as much a kind of emotional, I'm always kind of amazed, I don't know why, but I am, whenever I recall how visceral the feeling is of being in psychic good health, good psychic health, and it's and that exercise, or that the struggle. The fact is, as I mentioned, the book that I just finished reading, 4,000 Weeks, did a great job of kind of looking at how our relationship to time and the way that we conceive of time actually kind of creates some barriers to our investing in the things that are most important to us. There are some ways in which our perception of time actually takes us out of the space that we want to be in order to really connect with what's most important to us. And so you can review those posts over the last couple of weeks, or just read the book 4,000 Weeks, give you even better insight into all this. But as I kind of leaned into some of that resistance yesterday, and then felt my kind of pan-systemic sense of upwelling of good health, I was like, oh, right. This is the feeling. This is the thing that because it's kind of like if you're about to go run up a mountain, or if you're going to go lift a bunch of weight or whatever your thing is for physical exercise, on some level, it doesn't always feel good in the moment, right? I mean, if we've gotten into like our particular form of exercise, hopefully there's some enjoyment there. But the fact is, it's not always, yes, now I want to feel the strain of this work. That's not always how we feel. Some days it's like we have to make ourselves do it or overcome a kind of inertia. But as soon as we do, that push is not really that big. Once we actually kind of figure out, oh, all I've got to do is show up. You know, that initial push really kind of happens pretty quick, and before we know, we're into the play of it. So, what I think I'm appreciating is this recollection that whatever it is we're resisting, there's like a tiny little threshold that we need to cross. It's just the threshold of believing that there's a real barrier there. You know, it's like my friend Kyle Cease has this great image that actually my wife Katie reminded me of the other day, which is there's a ride. I've never been on this ride, but Kyle talked about it. There's a ride at Disneyland where you're on some kind of like, I think it's like a water ride. You're on a little like a log going down the river or whatever, and there's a giant wall of I think water, and projected onto this is this teeming mass of rats, and you head straight for the wall, and it looks like you're going to go right through the wall, and the projection looks real. You don't know that it's a projection as you're approaching it. You think you're about to collide with and be sort of absorbed into this teeming wall, this teeming mass of rats. But of course, you get there and you go right through, and it was just a projection. Well, the barrier between what we want to do, what our heart is calling us to do, what our purpose is calling us to do, is like that wall. It's like that thing that feels so insurmountable or feels so terrifying. But actually, if we will just get there and cross it, as soon as it's behind us, we go, oh, that wasn't even a thing. That was just something in my mind, that there was a barrier there. And I think, you know, this is all fresh for me because the way that my system responded immediately after sort of overcoming that was so pronounced. It was so palpable and just like, and so it really reminded me to keep in mind the illusory nature of that barrier, and to keep in mind the state of kind of good health, psychic good health, emotional good health that results from letting ourselves travel through and be I guess that's what I have to offer today is asking ourselves, like what barriers in our life are actually illusory, are actually likely to be figments of our imagination, manifestations of our fear, but not genuine obstacles if we would simply have the courage to move through them. Yeah. Thanks, folks. Appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you soon.